careful though, because now I can't think of if, like, they work in both ways, right? But culture influencing movies, and then movies turning around and influencing culture. Because we had this conversation a couple weeks ago where I felt like I was like, these, a lot of women are afraid of things that they've seen in movies, and they like relate that to real life, in the sense of too. So like I always warn my girl, she loves all this horror, and she not just horror movies and stuff, but she likes true crime and like ID channel and stuff, and always watching stuff about people getting murdered or getting kidnapped, or
like real stories.
It's real stories too, along with movies. And so I constantly have to remind her, like, you got to be careful what you consume, because you start to create a view of the world based on these images that you've taken in, because like we said, on the conscious level, you feel like you're watching it, but your subconscious is also watching it and interpreting it in a whole different style.
Correct.
Like we said, there's images that are just going to stick with you. There's ideas that are just going to stick with you. And you start thinking like, there's a lot of murder out here. That's one thing I see a lot of people be like, there's a lot of people getting murdered. And I'm going to look up the murder rate right now. But,
I mean, you can make the argument that there's more people getting murdered now than there were a handful of months ago, which is true. But it's still way less people.
But like when you just talk about the overall numbers, right? So 5 per 100,000 people get murdered, right? So it's just, statistically speaking, that's just not very good odds. You know what I mean? That's just not very good odds at all. 5 to 100,000, But if you watch ID all day and night, right, you would think that there's a lot of motherfuckers out here getting murdered.
You could also manifest that shit if it's all you think about.
Facts, that's true. But even in the sense of maybe not manifesting an actual murder, but you'll manifest a fear of murder. You know what I mean? Like you'll have a world perspective that, like I said, murder could get you, and so you're living in fear of this thing that is completely not really a threat to you. I had to tell my girl this all the time. Like, look, some of those things are from 1980. They're pulling up murders from like 1970s and 60s just to keep populating this.
It's kind of like that, like the idea of like being in the South and thinking about Wrong Turn or Hills Have Eyes. It's like the same concept. It's like it might have happened once in 100 million, because I can only think of maybe like one real case of that kind of thing happening, where you had like inbred family and some weird genes, and they were protective, and people came on their land.
And like a couple black people have gotten kidnapped and murdered and killed out here in the
racially motivated.
Yeah, sure. Deep rural areas and stuff. But like you said, the likeliness of these things happening to you are just not as great as a movie would make you feel like it is.
Yeah, if you just watch Wrong Turn,
then
you
feel
on a
like
tour bus in Wisconsin,
it's about to happen to you. You're like looking around like, hey, this shit could pop off. But the chances that shit actually popping off is like slim to absolute none. So
it's true.
Yeah.